This is the Troll Patrol, live with Justin FREAKIN.
Welcome to the Troll Patrol, live for the second time today. Earlier today, we were on with Joe Biden's very first press conference. No, sir, I do not feel like Dennis Stamp. Sometimes I feel like the Prince, the French producer, the French film producer that we talked about last night, who called the president a moron on his Facebook and is currently being prosecuted for it. I was wondering if I would even be able to do a show tonight. Apparently, I've been in severe danger all day. I live in the path of the tornadoes that hit the southern United States today. But it's clear. The radar doesn't look like there's going to be any more weather, so it looks like we're going to do some news tonight. On this freaking Thursday. Starting off with a story that we mentioned last night. We're going to dig a little deeper. You know, I thought if any day a tornado would get me, it would be today, because, you know, I just got the new couch. My apartment has been a wreck for the last couple of weeks as I've been preparing for the new furniture and such, making some improvements. So it's kind of aggravated me at how dirty my apartment is. So today, like, it is spotless in here right now. I thought, of course, the day that the tornadoes are going to roll through, one's probably going to come right up the mountain and just take me out. After I spent all this time cleaning my apartment and getting this new furniture in place. That's why, in case you may have noticed, the lamp that is usually on this side has moved to this side now. I don't know if I like it. I don't know if I like this setup at all. This couch throws everything off. You see that the flag is now off center with the couch. That fucking annoys me. I have two tables. There's not room for two tables anymore. There's only one table with the couch. So I don't know how I'm going to deal with this. No one said anything last week because, like, I had started taking my couch apart and it was all janked up. Nobody must have, like, even noticed. It was wild behind me on Friday night. Then it hasn't been behind me until, you know, there hasn't been a couch behind me. I've thought about it. Those Oriental rugs are really expensive. I might get something. Now, a rug like that I might get off of Wish, but then, like, it's probably not going to last very long. I was thinking I was going to get some tapestries to go out on my patio. I'll get those from Wish. Because I don't care if they, you know, they're going to be out there. Because one of the things is, I live right on the tree line and on a mountain. And, like, my backyard is a national forest, so I have windows, doors open. Everything has a fine powder on it at all times. There's like a dust from the woods that gathers in my apartment. Well, a fuzzy, glittery rug. That sounds like me. Everybody that knows me knows I'm quite flamboyant. I would love a glittery rug. That sounds fun. The only thing about you did indeed knock my front tooth out. That is an issue. It's also one of the reasons I've never admitted it on screen, because, like, it started pushing forward and it kind of looks like I've got a gap in my tooth. It's one of the reasons why I use this windscreen and not my other one. Is because it kind of blocks my mouth because I have a complex about the fucking gap in my teeth because this motherfucker knocked my front tooth out when I was 19 years old. And it's an incredibly expensive procedure to replace it because for some reason, even when I had insurance, it was like 13 grand to replace my front fucking tooth. We have a fucked up system. That's one of the reasons why I am such a advocate for Medicare for all. And that it should cover dentistry. Because even they considered my front fucking tooth cosmetic. They considered my front fucking tooth cosmetic. I'll repeat that once again. They considered my front fucking tooth cosmetic. That's the reason why it was so expensive, even with good insurance. Tooth is indeed the correct spelling. But we're going to talk about some progressive policies that hopefully our government is going to... Oh, it's tooth. It's tooth. That hopefully the government is going to undertake. Led by Bernie Sanders. We're going to get a good dose of Bernie here in just a little bit. But first, scoop inside Biden's private chat with historians. I have talked to many a Canadian. I have several Canadian friends, and they all say we fucked up healthcare. They're like what do they call it? Like the top hero in the country is like the guy that gave them universal healthcare. So I even if it has its flaws, it is infinitely better than our healthcare system. I can't believe somebody came into my chat and had the nerve to talk about a fuck up of a healthcare system. Because I'll be happy to show you the stats. How horrible our healthcare system is. We spend more than any other country on the planet. We spend more than several of the countries behind us combined for worse outcomes. And that's even if you can go see a doctor. Nothing's covered here in the U.S. Comparative, still. But we are pushing for a Medicare for all system that would indeed cover dentistry. Is that the guy's name? Is Tommy Douglas? I'm not that familiar. I just know that they fucking love that dude up there in Canada. That he ranks higher than Gretzky and fucking Bret Hart. And that's saying something. Okay, hosting historians around a long table in the East Room earlier this month, President Biden took notes in a black book as they discussed some of his most admired predecessors. Then he said to Doris Kearns Goodwin, "I'm no FDR, but..." Ooh. The Axios piece leaves us with a little teaser. I'm sorry, the dude that gave them healthcare does outrank Bret Hart. My apologies. I know. By the way, if you are a wrestling fan, we do have some wrestling to talk about tonight. Apparently, the Peacock Network has removed some content it deems offensive. We're gonna watch one of those clips just cause it's WrestleMania season. Biden would like to be FDR, apparently. The March 2nd session, which the White House kept under wraps, reflects Biden's determination to be one of the most consequential presidents. The chatty 2-hour-plus meeting is for the history books marker of the think big, go big mentality that pervades his West Wing. I'm not so sure about that. Bret Hart good, Tommy Douglas more better. Fucking Jericho, man. Ain't that the truth? Speaking of, and I've covered the Jericho saga here on this show. Apparently his wife is a hardcore Trump supporter. They donated 40 grand to the Trump campaign. I used to be the biggest Jericho fan. He got COVID at Sturgis, apparently, supposedly, maybe. He's been vague on the details because I don't think he wants to let it out of the bag that he got COVID at Sturgis. Anytime I can tie politics to wrestling, believe me, I do. I've talked about the Lauren Boebert possible connection. Anyway, get me off track, goddammit. I've got so much shit to talk about. This is the most jam-packed show since I've been doing this show for a year. We're coming up on 1 year of the Troll Patrol Live on 4/20. It will be the 1 year anniversary spectacular. I am going all the fuck out. We are coming on the air at 4 o'clock p.m. and we are going to celebrate 4/20 all across the nation as if it was New Year's. So please join the Troll Patrol 1 year anniversary stream coming up on 4/20 at 4:20 p.m. Eastern Time. Biden holds his first formal news conference today at 1:15 p.m. in the East Room. We covered that. We streamed that earlier today. There was a very funny moment where he completely lost his train of thought. He went for about 30-45 seconds. Other than that, he did a good job. He spoke for about an hour. He started his term with a $1.9 trillion COVID bill with numerous measures tucked into reduce inequality. The vaccines are rolling out, positioning Biden to get ahead of the pandemic. Democrats in Congress are pushing the most sweeping changes in voting rights since the 1960s. We're going to talk about S1 is the bill, the For the People Act. And he's preparing an infrastructure and green energy plan that's bigger than the original tab for the interstate highway system, to be followed by a domestic proposal, free community college, universal pre-K, that brings the bearer packages to $3 trillion with possible pay-fors that would dramatically rebalance the tax system. Bernie Sanders is taking aim at the tax system, and we're going to hear from him here in just a little bit. Attendees tell me that the afternoon session with historians was held in the White House that was ghostly quiet because many fewer aides are working in Biden's COVID-era West Wing than are typical. To some of the guests, it felt like a snow day. The session was organized by John Meacham, the presidential biographer and informal Biden advisor, who has helped with big speeches from Nashville and serves as POTUS historical muse. A weird way to put it. Besides Goodwin, participants included Michael Beachloss, author Michael Eric Dyson, Yale's Joanne Freeman, Princeton's Eddie Glaude Jr., Harvard's Annette Gordon Reed, and Walter Isaacson. Biden made it clear to his guests that he knew the gravity of the multiple crises facing America. He knew a lot about Franklin Delano Roosevelt and peppered Goodwin with questions about the World War II leader. Interesting. However, Biden is not what Bernie would have been. Bernie Sanders wanting to reshape a rigged tax system, he says. Senate Budget Committee Chairman Bernie Sanders is turning the committee, best known for writing budgets that never became law, into a vetting ground for progressive policy. Sanders views his new jurisdiction as a broad mandate that essentially, in one way or another, touches the lives of every American. In keeping with that vision, Sanders will introduce a pair of bills on Thursday to restore the corporate tax rate to 35%, higher than Biden's 28%, and add a new progressive tax rate on the estates of the wealthiest Americans. The 35% would be closer to what it was under Clinton. I believe it was 37% then. I might be slightly wrong on that. What we want to do is use the committee to focus on the crises facing the working class in this country. Actually, let's go ahead. Let's hear from Bernie, shall we? Today, in a Senate committee hearing, he took aim at the Walton family and Jeff Bezos.
Order. Let me thank the ranking member, Lindsey Graham, for his help. And let me thank our colleagues on the committee and our witnesses who will be testifying remotely, almost all, not all, this morning. Right now, there is a vote that has been called. It'll be the first of 4 votes. So I think you're going to see members moving in and out. Last week, as some may recall, the Budget Committee held a hearing on income and wealth inequality in America. We talked about the economic absurdity of 2 people in this country, Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk, owning more wealth than the bottom 40% of the American people. 2 people owning more wealth than the bottom.
I just want to take this opportunity to say, fuck Elon Musk.
40%. We talked about the obscenity of the 50 wealthiest Americans owning more wealth than the bottom half of our society, 165 million people, while over 90 million Americans are uninsured or underinsured, unable to go to the doctor when they need.
Or the dentist.
Talked about the absurdity of the top 1/10 of 1% owning more wealth than the bottom 90%, at the same time as 500,000 Americans are homeless and children in our country are going hungry.
And we have more empty homes than homeless people.
650 billionaires in America became $1.3 trillion richer during the pandemic, while 63% of Americans have been living paycheck to paycheck, worried that if their cars break down or their kids get sick, they're going to be in financial disaster. Today, in the midst of massive wealth and income inequality, this hearing is going to talk about the need to end a corrupt and rigged tax code that has showered trillions of dollars in tax breaks to the wealthiest people in our country and the most profitable corporations. Warren Buffett.
Zoom, which made a killing during the pandemic. If you paid your monthly fee for Zoom Pro for a year, you paid more to Zoom than Zoom paid in federal taxes. It is absurd.
Buffett, one of the very wealthiest people in America, is right. Buffett is right. We can no longer tolerate a tax code that allows him, worth $95 billion, to pay a lower tax rate than his secretary. We can no longer tolerate many large corporations making billions of dollars a year in profits, paying nothing, zero, in federal income taxes.
Fucking nothing.
At the same time, half of older Americans have no retirement savings.
GE.
And no idea.
ExxonMobil.
Be able to retire.
Walmart.
With dignity. According to recent studies, in America today, the top 1% is responsible
fucking Amazon
for 70% of the taxes that go unpaid each year. In other words, the top 1% is evading some 200 and
I saw a stunning stunning statistic the other day of just like how much prosecution of tax crimes has dropped since the Obama administration. It's just mind-boggling.
$66 billion in federal taxes each and every year. And even in Washington, that is a tidy sum of money. If we collected just one-third of the unpaid taxes of the very rich, we could provide in this country and make public colleges and universities tuition free, provide universal school meals to every child, and guarantee clean drinking water to every person in our country. And that's because the people on top
the basics
have underreported some 20% of their income. Despite what some of my Republican colleagues may claim, the reality is that when you take into account federal income taxes, payroll taxes, gas taxes, sales taxes, and property taxes, i.e. the entire tax system, we have as a nation an extremely unfair tax code that allows billionaires to pay a lower effective tax rate than public school teachers, truck drivers, and nurses. And that has got to change. We need a progressive tax system based on the ability to pay, not a regressive tax system that rewards the wealthy and the well-connected. Let us be clear, as I think all of us know, this country faces enormous structural crises that we must address.
Well, you didn't do too good a job. He still stuttered and stumbled a bit.
Crumbling. That is our roads, bridges, dams, wastewater plants, sewers, culverts, and yes, affordable housing. That's going to take a lot of money.
And even though, sir, I do not need a teleprompter here on this show because I'm 100% off the cuff, I do encourage you to stick around and follow us on the Twitch.
Infrastructure. In order to combat climate change, which is an existential threat.
You pulled a Will Ferrell on him?
We need to
Anchorman
transform our energy system.
I'm Ron Burgundy.
Energy efficiency and to build sustainable energy systems. Also an expensive proposition. Further, we need to do what every other major country on earth does, and that is to guarantee health care to every man, woman, and child as a human right, not a privilege. We need to make sure
even Biden, if I'm not mistaken, Biden even said that the other day, that healthcare is a right. So fucking act like it, Biden.
Regardless of their income, are able to get a higher.
Get on that, Mr. Teleprompter.
What they desire. We need to expand, not cut Social Security, so that 20% of our seniors are no longer forced to survive on an income of less than $13,500 a year. Now, I think as many people know, as a result of the Trump tax cuts for the rich, in 2018, over 90 Fortune 500 companies not only paid nothing in federal income taxes, they actually received billions of dollars in tax rebates from the IRS. Profitable corporations pay nothing in federal taxes, get a rebate from the IRS. For example, just a few examples. 2018, Amazon.
I've never played RuneScape, so I don't know exactly what you're talking about.
Check from the IRS after making $10.8 billion.
You made the claim that you're Biden's brain, that you're calling the shots.
Received a $187 million refund check from the IRS.
I'm just letting you know what the people are about. The people want the Medicare for all. The people think that healthcare is a right. So, Mr. Teleprompter, if you don't get Biden on it, we're going to vote him out. We're going to put somebody in there who is for it.
After making over $5 billion in profits. Chevron received
I'm already gearing up for 2022 and 2024.
$4.5 billion in profits. And this gross unfairness never ends. Recently, as many know, some of my Republican colleagues introduced a bill to give a $1.7 trillion tax break to the 650 richest families in America. Families who are now worth over
And
$4
raise taxes
trillion.
on all of
In
us.
the midst of all of the problems facing our country, some of my Republican colleagues have decided that what we should do is give massive, massive tax breaks to the very, very wealthiest families in America, the top 0.1%. For
It's the
example,
only thing they
under
got.
this effort to completely repeal the estate tax, which some of my Republican colleagues are talking about, the Walton family, the richest family in America, and the owners of Walmart would get a tax break of up to $88 billion. Got that? Richest family in America under the repeal of the entire estate tax.
For a company
We're getting
that is
$88
already being
billion
subsidized by the federal
tax.
government.
Family of the wealthiest individual in the world, Jeff Bezos, owner of Amazon. Complete repeal of the estate tax would mean
Lex
that
Luthor.
family would receive a tax break of more than $70 billion. Meanwhile, under that plan to completely repeal the estate tax, over 99.9% of families in America, including every family farmer, rancher, and small business owner, would get nothing, not a penny in tax relief. Why? Because the estate tax repeal only applies to people who inherit over $11.7 million in wealth. Well, needless to say, I have a very different perspective, and that is why I am introducing today an estate
And that
tax
is
bill.
why we love you, Bernie.
Senators White House, Gillibrand, Reed, and Van Hollen that would do exactly the opposite of what my Republican colleagues would do. It would demand that the families of the billionaire class not only not get a tax break, but start paying their fair share of taxes. And by the way, interestingly enough, when we talk about the estate tax, I hope my colleagues understand this is not an idea invented by Bernie Sanders or some other progressive. It was an idea developed, created by a good Republican named Teddy Roosevelt. And as Teddy Roosevelt said, quote,
There you go.
quote, because it's relevant today as it was back then. Roosevelt said, the absence of effective state and especially national restraint upon unfair money getting has tended to create a small class of enormously wealthy and economically powerful men whose chief object is to hold and increase their power. The prime need is to change the conditions which enable these men to accumulate power. Therefore, I believe in a graduated inheritance
And that
tax,
motherfucker was rich as shit.
properly safeguarded against evasion and increasing rapidly in amount with the size of the estate. End of quote. Teddy Roosevelt, Republican.
Republican.
Roosevelt was, of course, exactly right.
And
Further
richer than
today,
all
I'm
get out.
introducing the Corporate Offshore Tax Dodging Prevention Act, legislation that would prevent corporations from shifting their profits offshore to avoid paying U.S. taxes and would restore the top corporate rate.
He's one of my favorite
35%,
Republicans because
where
he
it was before Trump became
despised
president. Today, corporations are avoiding hundreds of billions
big
of dollars in
corporations.
taxes by shifting their profits to offshore tax havens in the Cayman Islands, Bermuda, and other locations. Interestingly, in 1952, corporate income taxes amounted to 32% of all federal revenue. Today, that figure is down to just 7%.
Holy
Here's the bottom
shit.
line. We're living in a country which has enormous
Corporate taxes went from 30-something percent, what, 32% did he say, to 7%? Astounding.
Bermuda and other locations. Interestingly, in 1952, corporate income taxes amounted to 32% of all federal revenue. Today, that figure is down to just 7%.
That tells you everything you need to know right there. 32% of federal revenue in what, 1950, did he say? Came from corporations. It is just 7% today. Holy fuck. So that's what Bernie's doing in the Senate. That's what we got cooking over there. Let's see what we got cooking in the House, shall we? Representatives Talib and Jayapal introduced bill to pay $1,000 monthly relief by minting $1 trillion coin. Democratic reps Rashida Tlaib and Pramila Jayapal on Tuesday introduced legislation that would provide everyone in the U.S. with a one-time payment of $2,000. $2,000 out the door is what Biden said. This is not out the door, but at least we're getting to it. A one-time payment of $2,000 and monthly recurring payments of $1,000 thereafter in an effort to provide sustained relief to millions struggling amid the ongoing pandemic. The Automatic Boost to Communities ABC Act proposes financing the payments with an unconventional plan that would direct the Treasury Department to use its legal authority to mint as many $1 trillion platinum coins as necessary to fund the legislation, which would continue until a year after the public health emergency ends. As Matthew O'Brien explained in The Atlantic, at the time, federal law lets the Treasury create coins in whatever value it wants, even $1 trillion. It's all straightforward enough. The Treasury would create one of these coins, deposit it at the Federal Reserve, and use the new money in its account to pay our bills. So that is what Democrats in the House are working on. Would you like to check in with the Republicans in the Senate? See what they're up to? Because I'm sure they're working on something meaningful.
Senator Schumer's question was, he was wondering why on Sundays Georgia would.
This is Senator Cindy Hyde Smith.
Question was, he was wondering why on Sundays Georgia would not participate in an electoral process of gathering signatures of registration and things on Sunday. And I would just like to respond to that. Georgia's a southern state just like Mississippi. I cannot speak for Georgia, but I can speak for Mississippi on why we would never do that on a Sunday or hold an election on a Sunday. You know, this is our currency. This is a dollar bill. This says the United States of America, in God we trust. Etched in stone in the U.S. Senate chamber is in God we trust.
Fiat currency, just like her fiat God.
The last thing you said to them in your instructions was, so help you God. In God's word in Exodus 20:18, it says, remember the Sabbath and keep it holy.
So
Biden staffers were
that is what the Republicans are up to. Now, what she's referring to is in Georgia, they have this thing in black churches where it's like souls to the polls. And they go straight from church. They make it a whole event for the afternoon. They go straight from church and they vote. And that is what Republicans are taking aim at to try to block, because they want to disenfranchise black people, because they happen to usually vote Democratic. Holy shit. But you know, that right there, them trying to block black people from voting, that's not at all a power grab. No.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. These debates are very worth having.
It's the Democrats that have a desire for power, according to
cut taxes.
Lindsey Graham.
Cut taxes in a way to make American corporations competitive with a worldwide rate. What happened before COVID? You saw a rise in wealth among every segment of the American family.
That's a discussion for another time. The whole that's one of the reasons why the Jayapal Talib proposal works is because we were fiat currency. We can just go pull money out of thin air. But there's also the worry about runaway inflation tied to that. That's what causes inflation, because I believe me, I pound right-wingers about this all the fucking time, because they're constantly talking about raising wages causing inflation. Like, no, motherfucker, printing money is what causes inflation, you stupid. But right-wingers are fucking morons. Oh, goddamn, money, week-long debate. Fuck. The never-ending debate. Anyway, Mr. Graham, please take it away.
Income increased We added 5 million jobs. People benefited mightily. What happened after that is that 19%.
You stay tuned. We're going to show Ted
top
Cruz
1%
fighting with some
account, I think,
reporters.
For 19% of all wealth.
Crenshaw getting into it with the Zuck and Dorsey.
Something percent of income taxes. 35% of the people in the United States don't pay any income taxes.
I thought it was higher than that. I thought it was
think a
almost
model
the entire bottom
increasing
50%.
taxes now in the name of going after.
Now, he just said income tax. Now, almost the entire bottom 50% pay nothing in federal income tax.
The wealthy hurts the middle class as much as it would hurt anybody else. The one thing that I differ with Senator Sanders is that we live in a world that's very competitive. If you go to a 35% corporate tax rate, you're going to incentivize people in the wrong way.
Now, there has been talk of countries getting together and doing a Paris Climate Accord thing. Like, hey, we will never lower taxes under 35%. That way, this argument completely goes out the window. And like, fuck, I'm for that.
To find locations that are more friendly. Why are we doing so well in South Carolina? Because we have a low business-friendly tax.
Are you
structure,
doing well in South
hardworking
Carolina? I've
people
been to
with a
South Carolina,
good
sir.
education system to help them acquire the skills they need to work in a modern economy. That's why BMW, Michelin, and Boeing, I could go on and on and on. The premier manufacturers in the world.
Oh yeah, Boeing. Which
My
what
state
didn't they go fucking
has a
bankrupt
good
a year or two
workforce
ago?
And good sound tax policy. To those who are listening out there, tax policy is job policy. The way you structure your tax code is going to determine how competitive you can be vis-a-vis the rest of the world. And if you want to declare war on the top income earners in this
Look at the way he's framing
country
it.
because you think they have too much because they don't pay their fair share.
They don't.
Well, what is a fair share? Reader's Digest has been doing polling on this issue for decades, and most people say around 25 or 30% is a fair share.
Reader's Digest. I haven't heard that fucking name in forever. Do they still publish shit? I actually, Reader's Digest was good. I would fucking, because my grandparents subscribed to that shit. They're still in print? Fuck yeah. I would read that shit when I was taking a shit. They're really good stories. Cool. I have not heard that name in fucking decades.
Of anybody to pay. What Senator Sanders doesn't get, in my view, is most people who are struggling.
I take it they didn't convert to
like
digital.
To be wealthy and don't resent people who are wealthy who've done it right and fairly. So when the government's going to determine how much you can make, what the ratio should be of what a CEO can make in any company, what else are we going to do? So the bottom line is that free enterprise works. The model you're proposing has been proposed.
I don't. Works for who? Works for who?
I'm not advocating eliminating the death tax, but I am advocating making it possible for people who worked all their lives to pass wealth to their families. And when Bill Gates' times comes, I think he's done a good job with his money.
Fuck Bill Gates. Take all his money. I don't give a shit. When he dies, why does he get to pass that to his son?
My friends on the left to grab as much money and power as they can is going to ruin the country. There has to be some balance that I do believe in a progressive tax code, but every time we meet, we're talking about another group of people in America to grab their money to do
You
things
fucking
with
cracker.
that politicians like.
His point
on
is
the
that Democrats are going to ruin the
See where
country.
this goes. We're gonna
I just
have
noticed
an
you said
election in
ham.
2022, and I want everybody in South Carolina to know that if Senator Sanders gets his way, it's going to be hard for corporations to remain competitive in our country. The reason people are leaving New York and California in droves.
Leaving. Remember, Amazon wanted all those subsidies from Brooklyn to move to Brooklyn. AOC helped take back those subsidies. Fucking Amazon still went there because they wanted to be in fucking Brooklyn. So your argument is total bunk. You do not need to subsidize these multi-billion-dollar corporations. Lindsey Graham.
Look, I've been on.
Ooh, shit. Now we gotta move on to another douchebag. Graham. Because I do not do the H. Now, if you've not heard me say it before, I want to remind everybody that I would love to piss in Dan Crenshaw's open eye hole. I cannot stand this man. This was earlier today. Dan Crenshaw grills Dorsey and Zuckerberg on free
social
speech.
Media longer than anyone in Congress, I think. It was one of the first schools to have Facebook back in 2004. And it seemed to me that the goal of social media
Dun, 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 dun.
was simply to connect people. Now, the reason we're here today
Got some
is because
audio
the role of
issues.
Social media has expanded in an extraordinary way, and your power to sway
He's
opinion and
overmodulating his
control narratives is
microphone.
far
God
greater
damn.
than the U.S. government's power ever has been. And so I noticed a trend today. There's a growing desire from many of my colleagues to make you the arbiters of truth. See, they know you have this power, and they want to direct that power for their own political gain.
Yeah, his microphone is too hot.
Since
God damn.
Facebook was my first love. I'm going to direct questions at you, and this isn't a trick.
Did he
question,
just say
I promise.
Facebook
Do you
was his
believe
first
in the
love?
spirit of the First Amendment, free speech,
I thought it was
robust
Merrill.
debate, basic liberal values.
Yes, absolutely.
See, my colleagues can't infringe on the First Amendment.
Fucking Zuckerberg. He's just all of the people involved in this look so weird.
People in their speech are protected from government, as they should be. My colleagues, this administration, they can't silence people they disagree with, no matter how much they want to. But I do think they want to.
No. I do it because like,
Just in this
I
hearing,
hate him
I've
because
heard
he's a
Democrats complain
fucking
about
douchebag.
misinformation, by which they clearly mean political speech they disagree with. They've complained today that Prager University content is still up. I've heard them accuse conservative veterans of being tinfoil hat-wearing extremists, and that opinions on climate change that they disagree with should be taken down. This is quite different from the Republican complaint that illegal content needs.
Okay, the Trump administration took down all the information about climate change from the federal websites. Like, he's describing what the Trump pirate fight. I've told the story about the employer that I had, the engineer I was working under, that said, "Do you know why we get to go to these courthouses looking the way we do, looking like pirates?" And I completely straight, because this is comedic timing on my part, just straight face, like, "Are you saying you think I look like a pirate? Me with my bandana, Fu Manchu, earrings and shit." Goddamn right, Residue, you could out-pirate Dan. I don't think it would take much to out-pirate Dan Crenshaw. I think he's a phony tough guy, to be completely honest with you.
My colleagues, this administration, they can't silence people they disagree with, no matter how much they want to. But I do think they want to. Just in this hearing, I've heard Democrats complain about misinformation, by which they clearly mean political speech they disagree with. They've complained today
No, lies, like your lies about the election.
that Prager University content is still up.
I don't know which Prager University video, but like Prager University has some like real bullshit.
I've heard them accuse conservative veterans of being tinfoil hat-wearing extremists.
We know for a fact that there are like these militia groups that have veterans, like the Nazis and the Klan prey on these veterans coming back. The like economic disinfected with fucking skills. God damn, that's exactly who they want and have been trying to recruit.
And that opinions on climate change that they disagree with should be taken down. This is quite different from the Republican complaint that illegal content needs to be addressed.
Yeah, they're like, as producer Dave says, there's nobody to root for in this
liberal
scenario.
Values of free speech and free debate. I promise you, the death of the First Amendment will come when the culture no longer believes in it. When that happens, then it
I don't know
becomes
what that
okay to
means.
jail or investigate citizens for speech, like has happened
Domo.
in Canada and
Domo.
throughout Europe. their culture turned against free speech. You all sitting here today as witnesses are part of the culture. You can stand up in the
Motherfucker,
spirit of
I'm
open
all
debate
for
and
free
or you can be
speech.
the enemy of it. Your stance is important because it's clear that many want to weaponize your platform.
I want it to be known, preserved, here on video. I'm for motherfucking free speech. I do not think the government should be allowed to lock people up for their political opinions. There. But that is not what Dan Crenshaw is talking about. Dan Crenshaw is talking about criticism to his bullshit. He doesn't want to be criticized for his bullshit.
To get you to do their bidding for them. Mr. Zuckerberg, do you think it's your place to be the judge of what is true when it comes to political opinions?
Congressman, no, I don't believe that we should be the arbiter of truth.
Thank you. And look, I promise you this, as long as you resist these increasing calls from politicians to do their political bidding for them, I will have your back. When you don't, you become an enemy of liberty and longstanding American tradition. You might all agree in principle with what I just said. Mr. Zuckerberg, you clearly do, and I have a feeling the others would answer it as well. I just don't have time to ask everybody. But the fact remains that community standards on social media platforms are perceived to be applied unequally and with blatant bias. Mr. Dorsey, in just one example.
No. If you are perceiving that, you are dumb as fuck. It's not true. What you're saying is that they kick off fucking Republicans more than the left. Not true. Believe me, I know firsthand. I wish I could be on Twitter so I could tweet you, Dan Crenshaw, and tell you how not true it is.
I saw a video from Project Veritas that was taken down because they confronted a Facebook executive on his front lawn.
You saw a video from Project Veritas that was taken down. The dude that was literally convicted of fraud. That is a proven fraud. Every fucking video they make, 100%. You can guarantee it is not the full story. It is something taken out of context. It is framing it in a way that is false. I promise you, anything from Project Veritas automatically is false. That is their track record. That's their shtick. That's what they do. If you do not know what I'm talking about, that's the guy that dressed up like a pimp and went into the Acorn office all the way back in like 2009. And when I say pimp, I'm not talking like actual nice looking pimp. I'm talking like he went to a goddamn, what's the Spirit Halloween store? Is that the name of it? He went to one of those and got like a $20 pimp costume. I'm dead fucking serious. Oh.
But here's the thing. I can show you a video of CNN doing the exact same thing to an old woman who was a Trump supporter in her front yard. I've looked at both videos. It's an apples to apples comparison. CNN remains up. Project Veritas was taken down. I'll give you a chance to respond to that. I have a feeling you're going to tell me you have to look into it.
I don't have an understanding of the case, but I would imagine.
Yeah, fucking like I spend like all fucking day on Facebook. I have no clue what this asshole is talking about. I am sure that Mark Zuckerberg has absolutely no clue. But this pompous jerk ass is looking like, I got him.
Imagine if we were to take a video like that down, it would be due to a doxing concern, private address.
The address was blurred out. You don't have it. You don't have the case in front of you. I get that. The point is there's countless examples like.
I just got out of Facebook jail.
I just found that one today. There's countless examples like this.
And I got because my real account has been nuked completely. I had to revert back to an old alt that had no strikes against it. So actually, for the first couple of times that I got taken down for community standard violations, I actually didn't get put in Facebook jail. I just got finished serving a 3-day ban. So I'm gonna have to back off a little bit. But now I'm not like Dan Crenshaw. I know exactly what I did. I went to comment sections And I tried to rile people up and call them fucking dumb fucks in creative ways. Apparently this time, I used some sort of profanity within a post that I tagged somebody. I shouldn't have tagged this stupid fuck. Then I probably wouldn't have. I think it was something about, look at this, I found a neck beard. Here, I might have it right here. I found a really stupid and really confident neckbeard in the wild or something like that. Oh, it doesn't say what it is. It doesn't say what the comment was. Oh, but I think that I found a really fucking dumb and really confident neckbeard in the wild. And the dude was clearly a neckbeard.
So even if we agree in principle and everything I just went over, you guys have lost trust. And you've lost trust because this bias is seeping through. We need more transparency. We need better appeals process, more equitable application of your community guidelines, because we have to root out political bias.
This is a grown adult that holds actual power in the real world, grilling the CEO of Facebook about we need a better appeals process for when I get my comments taken down, when I'm owning the libtards. That's literally what this asshole is saying in an actual congressional hearing. It's embarrassing. I wish these people could feel shame.
In these platforms. I think, and I've talked with a lot of you offline, or at least your staff, and I think there's some agreement there. And I haven't heard in this hearing anybody ask you what you're doing to achieve these goals. So I will allow you to do that now. Maybe Mr. Zuckerberg will start with you.
Sorry, to achieve which goals?
More transparency, more feeling that
this might be like this might be on the Hill then.
Down,
now look, their
so for
their source is
we issue quarterly community standards enforcement reports on how, like, what prevalence of harmful content of each category, from terrorism to incitement of violence to child exploitation, all the things that we've talked about, how much of it there is and how effective we are at finding that, and stats around that. For appeals,
Zuckerberg or Crenshaw?
Independent oversight board, which is staffed with.
Are you saying you would fuck Crenshaw's eye hole after I lubed it up with my piss? Because that's just sick. What kind of sick fuck are you? I didn't hear what Zuckerberg said, but I'm sure it was a non-answer that none of us give a shit about. Ted Cruz got into it with some journalists. This should be fun. I believe this was yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, when I'm talking to the TV camera, I'm not going to wear a mask, and all of us have been immunized. So you're welcome to step away if you like.
Look how proud he is of himself. You're welcome to step away if you like. You think he totally landed a sick burn.
The whole point of a vaccine, CDC guidance, is what we're following. Tomorrow night, 18 senators are going to be traveling down to the southern border, traveling down to Texas, to see firsthand the crisis that is unfolding.
Okay, so it was Congress people last week, it's senators this week. All these political stunts because they've got nothing better to talk about. He is such a terrible actor.
To see firsthand the over 100,000 illegal immigrants who were detained last month.
Why don't you talk about your other trip down to the border,
that are
Ted?
in custody of the Biden administration right now. To see the conditions where the Biden administration is releasing illegal immigrants into the public.
Like, if I didn't do this on a daily basis, I wouldn't know their names. Ted Borg. I love it. The Border Patrol is probably going to feed them whatever the fuck they want. As we've done the stories that the Border Patrol has been working with working against the Biden administration to try to make them look bad. Now, as Ted Cruz is complaining about a mask here in this country, the UK announced Thursday to prolong their coronavirus emergency measures for 6 months, allowing the Conservative government to keep its unprecedented powers to restrict UK citizens' everyday lives. The House of Commons voted to extend the powers until September and approved the government's roadmap for gradually easing Britain's strict coronavirus lockdown over the next 3 months. Prime Minister Boris Johnson's large Conservative majority in Parliament guaranteed the measures passed by a decisive 484 to 76 margin. But Johnson faced rebellion from some of his own party's lawmakers who argued that the economic, democratic, and human costs of the restrictions outweigh the benefits. The Coronavirus Act, passed a year ago as Britain went into lockdown, brought in a wide range of temporary health and economic and social powers to deal with the pandemic. It gives authorities the power to bar protests, shut down businesses, restrict travel, and detain people suspected of having the virus. Conservative lawmaker Mark Harper, a leading lockdown skeptic, said he had not heard a single good answer as to why the British government needed to extend the draconian powers for another 6 months. The opposition Liberal Democrats opposed the extension, with leader Ed Davey saying it gave ministers a blank check to use draconian powers they don't need. Former Labour Party leader Jeremy Corbyn also spoke out against them, saying our liberties are at stake. So, interesting. It would seem that the Conservatives in the UK are for stricter lockdowns. Meanwhile, Governor Ducey relaxes COVID-19 guidelines in Arizona. Bars can open. Cities don't have to require masks. Ducey never issued a statewide mask mandate. Arizona encouraged personal responsibility. As a result, many cities and towns implemented their own mask requirements. Under the new executive order, those local mandates will be phased out, and counties, cities, and towns will not be able to enact new mask mandates. Oh, shit. Ducey's new guidelines also say that large gatherings of 50 people or more are no longer required to be approved by local governments. However, Ducey says these events should continue to follow safe practices and CDC recommendations. All right, are you ready for a juicy news story involving Hunter Biden and a gun? This is coming to us from Politico. The bizarre incident. Yes, outlawing local mask mandates. You heard that correct. So the Conservative Prime Minister in the UK is going full on draconian with his restrictions. Meanwhile, we can't even get the Republicans in the US to do just like basic measures. All right, this should be a doozy. On October 23rd, 2018, President Joe Biden's son Hunter and daughter-in-law Haley were involved in a bizarre incident in which Haley took Hunter's gun and threw it in a trash can behind a grocery store, only to return later to find it gone. Delaware police began investigating, concerned that the trash can was across from a high school and that the missing gun could be used in a crime. But a curious thing happened at the time. Secret Service agents approached the owner of the store where Hunter bought the gun and asked to take the paperwork involving the sale, according to two people, one of whom has first-hand knowledge of the episode, and the other was briefed by a Secret Service agent after the fact. So now this would be the Secret Service under Trump. This was 2018. The gun store owner refused to supply the paperwork, suspecting that the Secret Service officers wanted to hide Hunter's ownership of the missing gun in case it were to be involved in a crime. The owner, Ron Palmieri, later turned over the papers to the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives, which oversees federal gun laws. The Secret Service says it has no record of its agents investigating the incident. And Joe Biden, who was not under protection at the time, said through a spokesperson he has no knowledge of any Secret Service involvement. Days later, the gun was returned by an older man who regularly rummages through the grocery store's trash to collect recyclable items. The incident did not result in charges or arrests, but the alleged involvement of the Secret Service remains a mystery. One law enforcement official said that at the time of the incident, individual Secret Service agents at the agency's office in Wilmington, Delaware, and Philadelphia kept an informal hand in maintaining the former vice president's security. The person cited an instance in 2019 when the Wilmington office of the Secret Service called the Delaware State Police to arrange security for a public appearance by Biden. But now that would be Biden once he's well into a campaign. Not Biden's son at the very beginning of a campaign. The Secret Service declined to answer a question about whether it had informal involvement in, but wait a minute, the 2018, that would have been before the campaign. 2019, that might have been before the campaign. I'm off on my dates. So he would have started actually running, what, about January, February of 2019. The Secret Service declined to answer a question about whether it had informal involvement in Biden's security during this period. Any involvement by the Secret Service on behalf of the Biden family or on its own initiative would be inappropriate interference in an incident that was already being investigated by the Delaware State Police with the involvement of the FBI. Politico obtained copies of the firearms transaction record and a receipt for the gun dated October 12, 2018. Hunter responded no to a question on the transaction record that asked, "Are you an unlawful user of or addicted to marijuana or antidepressant, stimulant, narcotic drug, or any other controlled substance?" I would assume anybody buying a gun would answer no to that question. Lying on the form is a felony, though prosecutions for it are exceedingly rare. The gun store incident occurred during a period after Hunter Biden's administrative discharge from the Naval Reserves for his positive cocaine test and his subsequent divorce from his first wife, Kathleen. At the time of the gun incident, Hunter was in a romantic relationship with Haley, the widow of his late brother, Beau. The incident began when Haley searched Hunter's pickup, which was parked at her home in Wilmington, because of unspecified suspicions she had. Haley took the gun to Jansen's Market, a nearby high-end grocery store where the Bidens are longtime regular customers. There, she tossed the gun, wrapped in a black shopping bag, into a trash bag outside the store. Later that day, Haley informed Hunter of what she had done, and he instructed her to retrieve the gun. Oh shit, we have a caller. Caller, you're on the Troll Patrol, what's going on? Caller, you're on the Troll Patrol, what's going on? Are you there with me? Oh, nuts. Maybe we got butt dialed. That is unfortunate. I was hoping I would get a chance to argue with somebody. The missing gun caused heightened concern, according to the police report, because the grocery store sits across the street from a high school. Arriving on the scene, Delaware State Police retrieved security camera footage from the store and interviewed Jansen, the store manager. The Federal Bureau of Investigation also responded to the scene, according to people familiar with the situation. I just hearing that, I want to say that Trump was probably involved in it. It was some rogue Secret Service agents that were trying to dig up dirt on Joe Biden, which seemed to be Trump's obsession, especially right around that time, October 2018. That was around the time that Giuliani was apparently in the Ukraine trying to dig up dirt on Hunter Biden. Speaking of dirt, ex-Missouri Governor Eric Greitens announces his 2022 U.S. Senate bid. I understand. Like, if I clip that section of the show, though, it's going to get a lot of views just because it's Hunter Biden and the right-wing fucking outrage machine. It's a weird story, though. It piqued my interest. But now this one is going to blow your fucking mind. If you do not know who Eric Greitens, I don't know if I'm saying his name correctly. He doesn't deserve to have his name said correctly, to be completely honest with you. You don't know who Eric Greitens is. Greitens. Boy, howdy, is this a story. He's announced his bid for the 2022 Senate seat in Missouri. Eric Greitens, a former Navy SEAL officer who rose quickly to become Missouri governor before scandal forced him out of office just a year and a half into his tenure, announced Monday that he will run for the Senate seat being vacated by fellow Republican Roy Blunt. But Greitens had been laying the groundwork for a return to politics even before Blunt's announcement, with increasingly frequent appearances on conservative radio and television, appealing to supporters of former President Donald Trump, who of course aren't going to care about the accusations against Greitens. A number of other Republican candidates initially showed interest in replacing Blunt in heavily Republican Missouri, but the GOP field is narrowing. Greitens was a political outsider when he ran for governor in 2016, but his resume was impressive. In addition to his role as an elite military outfit, he was a best-selling author, a Rhodes Scholar, and had started a successful charity for veterans. Greitens defeated establishment Republicans in the primary before winning in November. By the end of his first year in office, Greitens was getting buzz as a potential future presidential contender. It all began to fall apart in January of 2018 when a St. Louis TV station aired a report about an extramarital affair with his hairdresser in 2015. A month later, a grand jury indicted Greitens for invasion of privacy, accusing him of taking a compromising photo of the woman and threatening to use it as blackmail if she ever spoke of the encounter. Greitens admits to the affair. He and his wife, Sheena, divorced last year, but he denied criminal wrongdoing and accused Gardner, a Democrat, of a politically motivated prosecution. Another scandal followed in April when Gardner charged Greitens with another felony, accusing him of illegally using the donor list for his charity. The mission continues to raise money for his 2016 campaign. Meanwhile, the Republican-led Missouri legislature began considering whether to pursue impeachment proceedings. Those discussions and criminal charges came to an end when Greitens resigned in June of 2018. Let's listen to him on Hugh Hewitt's show.
Morning, glory, America. Bonjour, hi, Canada. Hugh Hewitt, welcome. I'm joined by Eric Greitens, who announced yesterday he's going to run for the United States Senate.
Yeah, him.
Vacated
Yeah, apparently he held her against her will, too.
Good morning, Eric Greitens. Welcome to the program.
Hey, good morning, Hugh. Thanks so much for having me on, man.
Thank you for joining me. I watched your Brett Baer interview. I watched the video on Twitter. I don't want to go over old ground. I want to get to the biggest issue, which is, can you win in the general election?
Whoa! The biggest issue is, can he win? Not if he's a gigantic piece of shit that scammed a veterans charity and abused a woman.
10 years ago, Todd Akin, a terribly flawed candidate, was nominated with the help of the Democrats. Claire McCaskill beat him. Yesterday, after your announcement, ABC News headline, scandal-plagued former Missouri Governor Eric Greitens announces Senate bid. He resigned.
I am not high enough for this shit.
Multiple allegations of misconduct. The Kansas City Star said, should he win the Republican primary, Greitens could give Democrats their strongest opportunity to flip one of the state's 2 Senate seats. The former executive director of the Missouri Republican Party.
I think the Democrats pick up at least 2 seats in 2022. They may lose one, but I think they're going to win 3.
The door for Democrats. I think Republicans wanted to distance themselves from Greitens because of his behavior on multiple levels. How do you respond?
And if Greitens ends up being the nominee, this is one of the ones the Democrats are going to pick up.
Well, Hugh, look, you've seen and you've watched the way the mainstream media and the left have attacked President Trump for years because he was a conservative, he was an outsider.
No, because he was a piece of shit and a child rapist.
I'm a Navy SEAL, I'm a fighter, and when I came into office, we were attacked by the mainstream media and the left because
you're a piece of shit.
The establishment. We killed a politician's pay raise. We ended a corrupt insider tax credit program. And Hugh, when Antifa came to Missouri, we stood side by side with our police officers and we defeated Antifa. The fact is now
remember, Cori Bush, newly elected Democratic representative, is from St. Louis. She was a BLM organizer. I'm sure that was a dog whistle towards her.
All of those leftist and swamp lies have been exposed. The George Soros prosecutor who came after me, her lead investigator, Hugh, is now being...
I just want to...
Oh, shit.
Right to sue the people who made those false accusations. Every piece of that was disproven, Hugh, by the 20-month investigation that went through it. And again,
that investigation did not go into your affair, Eric. And when you were interviewed by AP, you repeatedly said it was consensual and nonviolent, implying that the photograph you took was consented to. The witness disagreed with that.
Stop repeating, sir. I have too much respect for you to allow
Hugh Hewitt.
You to repeat things that have been disproven and are 100% false. That is 100% false, Hugh. I have so much respect for you.
Wait,
for your program.
Are you saying you did not take a photograph?
Yes, and we've said that multiple times.
You personally didn't.
Not only did we not do that, the reason why the FBI investigator, who is hired by the George Soros-funded prosecutor...
Oh, she's discredited. I agree with that, Eric. She's discredited. She is discredited. But that's it's the Missouri legislature, and here's what I'm most concerned with. Eric, I don't want to talk about the prosecutor. She's discredited. The MEC is not at issue. It's the Missouri legislature that was going to impeach you.
Actually, Hugh, so again, let's go over the facts, sir. Let's go over the facts. What you had establishment swamp came after me. And here are the facts, Hugh. What we now know is that a journalist paid a $120,000 cash bribe to people who lied about me. That's the fact.
Who got the bribe?
It was Scott Vaughn. Scott Vaughn, who is a Missouri journalist. This is all documented, Hugh. All of the facts are out there. Now, I realize...
I don't believe that.
Look, you're talking to a Republican. I just want to win the Senate, Eric, and I'm afraid you'll be Todd Akin 2.0. I'm afraid Todd Akin got killed over legitimate rape, and in this Missouri report...
Hugh Hewitt is a piece of shit. He doesn't have principles. He just admitted it. And that's one of the reasons why I used to work with a Republican talk show host. And that was one of the reasons why he won't talk to me anymore. It's why he has me blocked on everything. Is because I pointed out, oh, you gave up the game there. You said you do not care about this country. All you care about is your team winning. You do not care if this man's a piece of shit. You do not care if he's an abusive asshole. You do not care anything about principles. I'm not exactly sure what Greitens' argument is.
Hugh, again, sir, I have so much respect for you. You got to look at the facts. Here's the facts, sir. again, $120,000 cash bribe was paid, and the person.
Can somebody look that up?
That they might be remembering their accusations through a dream. That's the fact. When they
is that the woman with whom you had the affair? Is that who we're talking about?
Oh, exactly right. That's what they said. $120,000 cash bribe. And again, sir, urge you to look at.
I have read everything.
So it says
tell me who got the $120,000? Who got the bribe?
It seems like he's saying that the woman he had the picture of got paid $100 and something thousand. So is he trying to argue that it was like entrapment? That she got him to take the picture just so she could entrap him? Fucking the mental gymnastics these fucks go through. Right-wingers are fucking morons.
You can read John Solomon's report.
No, I don't trust John Solomon. Who got the bribe?
I'm sorry, sir?
Who got the bribe?
The bribe was paid to people who lied about me.
Names. Names.
Specifically, they said that they gave it to Al Watkins, who... I'm sorry, sir. I can't...
Al Watkins is who?
He was a lawyer, sir, and he was representing the people who were making the false accusations against me. All of this is documented. All of the facts are out there. And the people of Missouri know these facts, and I'm happy to get you, Hugh, extensive documentation on all of these.
So,
I think he's full of shit.
Eric, when you run for office, they're going to read into the record witness 1, 2, 3, and 4 in front of the Missouri legislature accusing you of hap rape, of taking. They're going to do that. How are you going to survive that? How are you not going to be Todd Aiken?
Hugh, well, because look, we have the people of Missouri with us. The people of Missouri know these facts, Hugh. The people of Missouri know what happened. They saw this campaign orchestrated by the establishment and the left. They saw the lies that came. They've seen how the lies have been exposed. All of this is known to the people of Missouri, and it's why the grassroots are with us. It's why the people of Missouri are with us. And it's
by the way, he has a shit ton of outside money.
Absolutely, we will win.
Apparently, Greitens was funded.
The numbers are already showing that.
By people outside of Missouri.
Because we need to have fighters in the United States.
Well, it's important that we not lose the Senate. We cannot throw away a seat. So I want to turn to the second group that's come after you, which is 16 SEALs made a video that I watched. Have you seen this video that is swift boating you?
Hugh, I think you might be referring to a video that was made in the past, and I will let you know, sir, that in fact those guys have come out just recently, and they said that there was a candidate in 16 who paid somebody to attack me, and those guys have come out and they've apologized. We just released last night, Hugh, Ryan Zinke, former Navy SEAL, is my commander who endorsed me. You also saw in 16 Rob O'Neill, the man who shot Osama bin Laden.
Saw that.
And Hugh, you should also know those same establishment folks were the same ones, that same journalist who paid the bribe was responsible for those attacks.
I was just curious. Are you going to respond to?
This is the video. I don't. It's got some sort of copyright claim on it. I would have watched it. Shit. Eric Greitens at the heart and the myth. Operation Vigilant Resolve on YouTube. That is the video. Alright, I'm done with this shit. You guys want to see the absolute dumbest article I've ever seen in my life? The establishment, the deep state, you know, that fucking nefarious cabal that's just always out of reach that nobody can actually name. Oh, so it was just the attorney being paid their fee and he's calling it a bribe. That sounds about right. This was in NPR earlier today, published this morning. One's Antifa, one is in a militia. How an ancestry match led to an unlikely bond. Distant cousins Cody on the left and Andrew meet in Washington, D.C. Cody is a member of the 3%ers affiliated militia group, and Andrew is an organizer with Black Lives Matter activists. The two connected on Facebook and have gotten to know each other while researching their ancestry. Yeah, I was concerned, recalled Andrew, a 31-year-old music producer in Los Angeles. That's probably the nicest way I could say it. Andrew figured it was an identity theft scam, or because the note had arrived during last summer's racial justice protests, maybe a right-wing infiltration attempt related to his work as an organizer with Black Lives Matter group. I was very hesitant, obviously, he said, but I was also intrigued. I've never met another person with my last name that I didn't have a direct relationship to. Andrew warily accepted Cody's offer to trace his genealogy. Cody returned with a record showing that they were 8th cousins. The research checked out with Andrew's own. Cody, 24, is not a part of the violent Proud Boys, but he does belong to a different segment of right-wing extremism. About 2 years ago, he joined a small Virginia-based gun group that's aligned with the 3%ers, a cornerstone of the anti-government militia movement. 2 members, not Cody, were at the January 6th rally at the U.S. Capitol. In Andrew, Cody couldn't have stumbled upon a more different relative if he tried. At demonstrations against police violence, Andrew wears the black bloc uniform of many militant leftists, along with a gas mask and a helmet inscribed with Black Lives Matter. He's an organizer, a white ally, with black-led activist groups fighting for reparations and the abolishment of policing systems. With a laugh, Andrew described his policies as about as far left as you can get. Andrew and Cody sit on opposite coasts and opposite sides of the political spectrum, each representing movements accused by the other of fueling domestic terrorism. It's unlikely they ever would have met, much less struck up a dialogue, were it not for their chance connection to a German settler who lived 2 centuries ago. So this is a fluff piece normalizing all these radical fucking groups. Not talking about Black Lives Matter or the Black Blocs. Talking about the right-wing 3%ers and the militia groups. People like this motherfucker who was arrested in Lexington earlier today with a shit ton of guns. Watch the video here. This was in Lexington, Kentucky.
Hour with some breaking news for you. There is a major police presence over at UK Hospital at the Chandler Emergency Room here in Lexington. We are working to learn much more, but what we do know, the FBI is responding. This is the FBI field office.
Oh, so this was at the time that it was ongoing. An armed suspect was arrested at the University of Kentucky's Chandler Hospital Thursday, prompting a massive response from local and federal law enforcement officers. UK Police Chief Joe Monroe said the department was tipped off by another agency that the suspect, 44-year-old Brian Carroll of Versailles, was headed to the hospital to visit a family member and could be armed and dangerous. Also, I'm from Kentucky. I should know it's Versailles. Versailles is in France. Monroe said police found Carroll as he was leaving the hospital and took him into custody immediately. Firearms and body armor were found in the suspect's possession, and possible explosives were found in his vehicle. Monroe said Carroll will face multiple local and federal charges, 5 counts of possession of a handgun by a convicted felon, 4 counts of... I'm not exactly sure, that cut off. Though luckily no one was injured. This is not the only incident, however. Because, you know, we're back to normal here in America. Man with 6 guns, body armor, arrested inside a Publix in Atlantic Station. Atlanta police say they arrested a man who brought multiple guns into a Publix grocery store at Atlantic Station on Wednesday afternoon. There's no report of him pointing the weapons or using the weapons at all before police arrived. Investigators say the man, identified as Rico Marley, 22, walked into the store just after 1:30 p.m. holding a rifle. He then went into the bathroom. What could have happened, though, is fresh on the mind of the man who may have prevented the massacre. That's exactly what Lauren Boebert was saying to do. You're right. This is a sticky situation now. This man could be a legal firearm owner. Notice the color of his skin. That white people can go into a store armed to the fucking teeth and not be arrested. Black man does it and they're arrested. I also really enjoyed this picture right here with all the guns. It's on a table that says Associate of the Week. So like it really like portrays the message that the Associate of the Week was armed to the fucking teeth. Police did not say what they believe Marley intended to do with the arsenal of weapons at the store. Russell fears that it could have been another mass shooting. Russell said he didn't say anything to the man in the bathroom when he saw him. He said the man didn't make an attempt to hide the AR-15. The weapon was leaned up in the stall of the bathroom. And it was not in a case. I saw it clear as day. I just took my time to report it. While police were still investigating, the bomb squad arrived to look into a suspicious package. Atlantic Station partially shut down its shopping district and streets and the parking deck until it was clear. Marley was taken for a mental health evaluation before police took him to the Fulton County Jail. Russell said he can't think of any reason why anyone would be so heavily armed in public. I ask that of every dumbfuck right-winger I see that's armed to the teeth. So, content warning, we've got some crazy footage. Here before we had multiple stories of children driving cars. For some reason, I don't know why that's a thing right now. But we're gonna do multiple stories of children with cars. But before that, a man opens fire on a playground. Now this happened in Brooklyn. I believe we're watching the men in hoodies here. Yeah. Holy shit, just pulls out his gun and starts shooting. No good goddamn reason, it seems. I said man, it could be a woman. Wow, like the children didn't even move or anything. That's wild. I sincerely hope nobody was injured and this fuckhead was a shitty shot. What the fuck? So let's get the story on this. Gunman opens fire on crowded playground in the Bronx. Footage released by the NYPD on Tuesday shows two masked people on a scooter drive by the Magenta Playground. The individual on the back of the scooter then pulled out a gun and fired several shots as people inside the playground ran for cover. The bullets damaged 3 parked and unoccupied vehicles and no injuries were reported. Well, thank fucking God for that. Now, after all these stories about guns, we need to hold up now. We need to not politicize this too much. Because the cop that died in the Boulder, Colorado shooting, he was a very big gun rights advocate. And his dad says we do not need to politicize his death. Boulder PD officer Eric Talley's father says his son was a staunch Second Amendment guy. Look where that got him, huh? And even owned a weapon similar to the one used to kill him. And he believes Eric would hate to see his death used to promote gun control. Homer Talley tells TMZ Eric, an 11-year vet for Boulder PD, was a strong advocate for gun rights and had an AR-15 he often used for target practice. Homer's seen the debate erupt over reforming gun laws, and although this tragedy cost him his son, he doesn't blame gun access and doesn't think Eric would either. He told us, my son would have been deeply offended to know his death would be used to promote gun control. Before he was an officer, he enjoyed shooting. Of course, that's the big discussion now in Washington, D.C., as it's usually after a mass shooting. President Biden called for an outright ban on assault weapons on Monday. Now, the proposal by Democrats does call for a ban on any future assault weapons. It actually grandfathers in all the assault weapons that are presently on the street, so nobody would be confiscating any guns, just to make that clear. While Biden, many lawmakers, and a large majority of Americans feel banning AR-15s and similar weapons would deter these tragedies, Eric's father isn't so sure. He calls Alyssa's alleged attack a senseless act, and that is just it. The situation Eric found himself in wasn't one that the government could protect him from. That's exactly right. Now he doesn't enjoy anything. Only the statistics after the government has taken action against guns show a drop in gun violence. That's not the only right-winger weighing in on the gun debate, though. Here's Glenn Beck.
He is, the FBI apparently knew about this guy. He has ties to another person under investigation.
Yes, the FBI did indeed know about Alyssa.
The New York Times did report that the suspect's identity was previously known to the FBI because he was linked to another individual under investigation by the Bureau. There's some other things that are coming out, and we are confirming, and I'm not going to talk about them until we have them confirmed, but there may be something else that is going on. But I don't think anybody's really looking for any of that. Strange. As soon as it looks like there's something other than white racism, they're not interested in this story, and they pivot immediately to gun control. Gun control, that conversation was coming. If this was a
has anyone pivoted?
That conversation was.
Once again, I don't pay attention to the news. I watch this shit with you guys on stream.
January 6th and Donald Trump and Republicans and everything else. Once they lost this narrative, they switched immediately to gun control. We have some important stuff to.
I hate to inform Mr. Beck, but they were like, the House passed 2 gun control bills last week before last. Nobody switched anything. Exactly. No one pivoted. There was nobody was behind the couch yelling, pivot, pivot. I hate Friends. I honest to God, that is the worst fucking show. And somebody sat me in there like, this will make you laugh. You will laugh your ass off. And they showed me that fucking scene. I said, no, sir. That did not make me laugh. Glenn Beck makes me laugh, though.
Not only today, and about an hour from now, I want you to listen carefully because there are some things going on in America that you can actually involve yourself in. That I think you're going to want to, and you're going to want to be involved at the state level.
It has its moments, but overall, no, it's not very funny.
To stand against any kind of controls that are coming from the federal government.
It's kind of painful and cringe most of the time.
Kamala Harris This is Kamala Harris today on CBS.
And I believe that it is.
It
has to be possible.
Were you gonna leave my stream? I like the Big Bang Theory. Oh God, yeah, I would not. Okay, so I would definitely not go out of my way to watch the Big Bang Theory, but I wouldn't complain about it if somebody else was watching it, I guess, is the best way. I've never watched a whole episode, I don't think. But I have seen bits and pieces of it. Because I had a girlfriend that liked it. And she really liked How I Met Your Mother. And that one I did complain about. Now, it grew on me a little bit. But God, did I ever complain about How I Met Your Mother. Still, that would be my take on How I Met Your Mother, too. Like, it has its funny moments that I really enjoyed. But overall, no, that is not a good show.
That people agree that these slaughters have to stop. And this is, again...
Sergeant Slaughter.
Do you agree with that?
They should stop.
They should stop.
Mm-hmm.
I completely agree with that.
Is there another side to this argument?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
Not that I know of. But I think they believe there is. And that is everybody who disagrees with their solution wants these slaughters to continue.
Well, what's your solution, Glenn Beck? Do nothing? Because if your solution is to do nothing, it does indeed seem like you want these slaughters to continue. We have about 5 minutes left in this clip. What do you guys think is the odds that Glenn Beck throws us a solution that's not, just do nothing?
Okay, the rest?
Reject the false choice and stop pushing it for sure. Stop pushing the false choice that this means everybody's trying to come after your guns. That is not what we're talking about.
Yes, it is.
Quite possible.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Beto was the only one that had the balls to say it. Yeah, I am coming for your gun. If you don't think they're coming for your gun, why is it that they are going after with the financial industry? Why are they going after gun manufacturers? Why are they going after gun stores and cutting off financial institutional
Beto was,
access
indeed.
to them? Why are they doing that? Why, if they're not coming for your guns, why is it they want to raise the taxes on bullets? To make bullets.
That's my thing. I don't give a shit about guns at all. I hate the gun industry. I hate many industries. I hate a lot of things about capitalism. It is the gun industry. I want to see it wrecked. As for guns, I really don't care about those. I think you should probably be allowed to make and fucking have whatever gun you want. Notice I said make. I do not think guns should be mass manufactured. I do not think there should be companies trying to market and make a profit off of guns. Can we do that? Can we outlaw the sale of guns? That doesn't violate the Second Amendment. Own as many guns as you want. I don't give a shit. You shouldn't be allowed to sell guns anymore. He's making a claim that the Democrats are trying to go after financial access. I'm not exactly sure if there is something in one of those, because there's two bills. One I'm more familiar with than the other. The one with the background checks. There's another bill that's a little more hands-on, and I haven't gotten into the minutia of that bill yet.
Almost impossible to buy. This is not about assault weapons. And the lie about assault weapons is, you notice that they were describing his gun as a black AR-15. Why you have to bring black into it is beyond me, you
I've seen many articles about this. I never saw anybody call it a black AR-15. That's an odd point. I don't know if Don Lemon said it on CNN or something. What the fuck?
The only difference between that gun and a regular hunting rifle is it looks scary. That's it.
I will admit there was a meme going around online, and it was comparing the two guns. I'm like, you really are fucking stupid. That's the same fucking gun. Both of them have the same fucking capacity, the same rounds. So, like, I do understand some of the... Don't give the fucking gun nuts that ammunition. Don't try comparing types of guns and blah, 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 blah. People that are pro-gun control. Because I do want to throw this out there that I am not anti-gun in any way, shape, or form. The Marx quote, I'm getting ready to fuck it up, but under no circumstance should the proletariat exhaust the means disarmed. I fucked it the fuck up. Yeah, now I'm coming after the ammunition. No, I just don't think it should be sold. I don't think it should be a business. If you want to make your own gun at home, I'm totally down. That's fucking cool, too. I'll come over and video you making your gun. I got a friend who probably smelled his own fucking metal to make a gun. Get your 3D printer. Print a fucking 3D gun. I don't give a shit. We just should not have gun manufacturers that are trying to profit off of it, that have to market it, that have an oversized influence on our politics, and that are constantly trying to fearmonger in order to sell more of their goddamn guns. That's what I don't hate guns. I hate the culture and the marketing around guns.
That is it.
I hate capitalism.
Debuted in the 1950s. This is not something new. That gun was put on the market on the public, for the public, not the military. It's not a gun, a weapon of war. It was a gun that was put out, and it was called a modern sporting rifle. That's what it was called in the 1950s. In the 1960s, when we went to Vietnam, the Pentagon does what they always do. They go out and look for the most...
They modified it into like the M4 or whatever the fuck it was.
Work the best in war. They said, we'd like you to make these guns for the military.
They were automatic or whatever?
Just like the 9/11, the pistol was the military gun. Nobody says that's a weapon of war. Well, actually, they do now, but it's a 1911. What are you talking about? It's a handgun. Weapon of war. They want you to believe, because
now, I think that handgun he had did have some kind of modifications to it.
Don't have any idea.
I will give him that. That in the actual article that I was reading, the way it described the handgun kind of struck me as odd. I was like, that's weird. That's not at all what that was. So please don't give them fucking ammunition.
What a gun actually is, or how they work.
I want to say that I know the guy that made the AK-47, he said he didn't make it for the average person to have, that it was meant for war. I don't know if that's the same guy that invented the AR-15. I don't know. I know the guns are similar.
They've most likely never fired.
I don't know fucking shit about guns. I shouldn't be trying to talk about it.
I can guarantee you.
My gun knowledge comes from video games.
Many of us grew up in the West. This country, I understand if you live in New York City, you look at guns and they're scary to you. But in the West, outside of the new progressive cities like Denver, they are not feared. They are a part of your life.
I read somewhere that the dude that invented the
horrific shooting,
AK,
a police officer,
like he was upset that he invented it.
Why? He was firing back. What would have happened if he would have fired and killed that guy? We wouldn't have had 10 dead. What would have happened if one or two of the people in the supermarket had a pistol and knew exactly?
I think the statistics say that they're more likely to shoot like an innocent bystander. 20 minutes, 60 minutes, or 20/20, or 48 hours, or whatever the fuck, one of those, did a piece where they had like a training session, and they had people that were armed, and they knew that like a shooter was coming in, and they had to fucking draw and everything, and even they couldn't do it. I think he's making the hypothetical argument that if there was somebody with a gun there, it would have prevented it.
Exactly what they were doing with it. And
But I was talking over him because I'm going to...
I can tell you that I am the biggest wimp in the world.
Yes!
If I was in the supermarket and I had my...
I could kick Glenn Beck's ass. I'm not the biggest wimp in the world, but I'm pretty damn close to it, but I could kick Glenn Beck's ass, proving he is indeed the biggest wimp in the world.
My gun, which I carry all the time. If I had my gun and I was in the supermarket, the biggest
ain't gonna do
wimp
shit.
in the world would have tried to stop the shooter.
The fuck he would have.
And
he probably would have. He would have tried to pull it out, and he would have shot himself in the fucking foot.
Accurate shot. I know also to look behind the target to make sure I'm not going to accidentally shoot someone behind.
No.
People, they are pushing.
Oh, he thinks he's going to be all John Wayne. Fuck yeah.
Today, the 30 years of Joe Biden and his record on gun control and how great the gun control for automatic weapons was and assault rifles back in the 90s.
You know, like, Reagan supported your fucking hero. All right, so we have video of a 14-year-old driving a Porsche. Oh, maybe we should content warning this one because I don't think the kid's with us anymore. This is a 14-year-old. I guess he stole a Porsche.
What's the RP on the Porsche?
Looks like we're dash cam with the Ohio State Patrol. Damn. Oh! Okay. So, he goes by the cop, because the cop is probably already doing, this is a fucking interstate, the cop is probably already doing 75.
I got it.
He flies by the fucking cop. You can hear the cop kick it right there, so the cop is probably going up to like 90 here. So, fuck! He's well over 100. There's no way he'd be able to keep control of that thing. And he didn't. You're probably right that the cop did make it worse, but also the cop probably didn't know. Yeah, the cop just didn't like the... I don't know. We'll read the story here, but I don't know if the cop knew anything about the situation. He could have just saw a speeder. A 14-year-old teen accused of crashing a stolen Porsche SUV on Interstate 275 has died, according to the Hamilton County Coroner's Office. Alexander Laura was pronounced dead Tuesday at the University of Cincinnati Medical Center. A trooper with the Ohio State Highway Patrol spotted a speeding 2018 Porsche on Interstate 275 just north of State Route 28 shortly after 6 p.m. on Sunday night. He attempted to chase it with lights and sirens activated. The trooper was unable to catch up to the SUV, according to cruiser video. Only lasted about a minute. Patrol officials said their preliminary investigation determined that the teen was speeding in the SUV, which had been reported stolen, and lost control of it near the Ward's Corner Road's exit. The Porsche ran off the right side of the road and struck an embankment before coming to its final rest. Troopers have said the teen was not wearing his seatbelt and was ejected. Ooh. I do not have you muted, sir. I was reading a story. I responded to you. What the fuck? You've got like a narcissism about you. What the fuck? Yeah, that's... Oof. That one's a hard one to swallow. We got another one. This one is a 13-year-old. Homicide charge filed against the owner of a car driven by a 13-year-old. A woman faces a felony charge after detectives said she sold her car to a 13-year-old boy. A woman faces a felony charge after detectives said she sold her car to a 13-year-old boy who later crashed in South Nashville, killing a 71-year-old man. Katrina Russell, 37, was booked into the Metro Jail Wednesday night on charges of vehicular homicide due to reckless conduct and contributing to the delinquency of a minor. Metro Police said a 13-year-old boy fleeing from a hit-and-run crash on the morning of March 5th slammed the Dodge Dart he was driving into a Dodge Challenger in the parking lot of O'Reilly Auto Parts. David Chatham, 71, was inside the Dodge Challenger and died from his injuries. The 13-year-old driver, whose name has not been released, was charged in juvenile court with vehicular homicide by recklessness. An arrest warrant alleges Russell had given her car keys to the 13-year-old boy in exchange for $80, despite knowing his age. The child told detectives he had purchased the Dodge Dart from Russell, who later admitted to the sale. Well, it's not legit. Because like she couldn't sign the title over to him. Ben Shapiro framing a 13-year-old. Ben Shapiro did just move to Nashville. Maybe they are wrong on this, and it was Shapiro trying to buy it. Russell was held in the Metro jail in lieu of a $6,000 bond. Her booking photo was not immediately released. The Chatham family said while their lives are forever changed after one poor decision by a teenager without a license, they want other kids to think about how their actions can affect more than themselves. Well, the insurance contract couldn't be agreed to by a minor, but you couldn't you couldn't title it over to a minor, could you? And both cars are a Dodge. How fucking crazy. If you want to sell your car for $80, I mean, it's a free country. That one I don't know about. Like, what's a fair... If a car could barely run, sell that motherfucker for $80, sure. Also out of Nashville. I really hate to report on this story. You know, like, this one makes me so sad. Global Outreach Developments founder Greg Garner and his wife indicted on TennCare fraud charges. Oh shit. A pastor who built a 25-year reputation for being the moral leader of the Christian community, Global Outreach Developments International, and his wife could face jail time for fraud accusations. Because of course they should. Oh, yeah, you'd have to pay tax on that shit, wouldn't you? In order to do a title transfer. Fucking... Surely a 13-year-old couldn't agree to any of that. Like, that just had to be her, like, I'll take your $80, hun. He might have overpaid. Yeah, the Dodges didn't used to be very good. They're a better car company now. A grand jury indicted Greg Garner, the founder of the Nashville-based community service nonprofit and a local business owner, and Tara Garner on felony charges of defrauding Tennessee's Medicaid program. A state investigation revealed Greg and Tara, both 43 of Davidson County, failed to report business income that would have disqualified family members from receiving TennCare health insurance benefits. So they were raking in the dough as a fucking charity, nonprofit, their church, and then they were still getting TennCare. Holy shit. Fucking Christians. I swear. They're always the worst people. All right. Update on the Derek Chauvin trial. The jury has been seated. I've been wanting to do this story the last couple nights. I've had to cut it out because we went long. Half of the jury in the Chauvin trial is non-white. That's only part of the story. This is according to NPR earlier today. The jury chosen for the trial of former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin, charged with the murder and the death of George Floyd, is notable because it is significantly less white than Minneapolis itself. Among the 12 jurors and 3 alternates selected for the panel are 3 black men, 1 black woman, and 2 jurors who identify as multiracial. If none of the 3 alternates, all of them white, is indeed in the deliberation room, 50% of the panel that will vote on Chauvin's fate will be black or multiracial. Hennepin County, where the trial is being held, is only 17% black or multiracial, while it is 74% white. The jury's racial makeup will assuage some of the concerns that activists and others had expressed as jury selection got underway 2 weeks ago. An insufficiently diverse jury, they believed, would undercut people's faith in the legitimacy of a trial seen as a critical moment in the racial justice movement that Floyd's killing helped re-energize last spring. Even so, the jury's basic racial breakdown glosses over some important nuance. 2 of the black men on the jury are not African Americans, but rather black immigrants. During questioning, they expressed the kind of moderate views on policing and race relations that defense attorney Eric Nelson generally found acceptable, as he considered which jurors to strike and which to allow. None of the black jurors ultimately chosen for the panel spoke extensively about personal experiences with racism or about having had overtly negative interactions with police. That was in contrast to one potential juror, an African American man and former soldier, who said he had lived in the neighborhood where Floyd was killed and said police in the area were known to antagonize residents. Totally believable. The man, identified only by his juror number, 76, also spoke of experiencing racism on a daily basis and recounted seeing black acquaintances sentenced to prison for crimes while white ones often got a slap on the wrist. So I would like to get into the story doesn't actually get into like where we're at in the trial. I'm going to check on that and I will update that tomorrow. We should be about ready for opening arguments, I would assume, if the jury has been seated. Not sure if cameras are allowed in. I imagine not. because that would be a fucking circus. New York woman banned for calling black employee the N-word. Complaint has been filed with the cops. Let's watch the video here. This has been making the rounds.
She said she got medical problem. You don't have to serve her if you don't want to.
You can't even see how I'm looking at you, sir. I have sunglasses on. You can't even see how I'm looking at you. I have sunglasses on.
Get it, I guess.
You just said, don't look at you like that. How do you see how I'm looking at you?
Excuse me, can you just serve her? If you don't want to serve her, let you go. If you want to serve her, serve her. If not, let you go.
Take her out.
Ma'am, hello, ma'am. He's not going to serve you, so please leave.
Why?
Okay, somebody was holding a dog in this corner. That was really cute.
Hello, now you need to go.
That's what he is.
Excuse me, ma'am. Hello, ma'am. You need to...
Yeah, I was distracted by the puppy. I'm sorry. Oh, he's a cute little puppy.
Hello, ma'am. He's not going to serve you, so please leave.
Why? Because he's a bitch ass nigga.
Excuse me.
Oh, that's what he is.
Hello, now you need to go.
That's what he is.
Excuse me,
Bitch
ma'am.
ass,
Hello,
F-word.
ma'am. You
I
need
just
to
said
go.
it. You heard it.
Let me call the cop because this lady been...
Bitch ass N-word. I said it. You heard it. Oh my god. Oh shit.
It doesn't affect me that you're not going to serve me because you're a bitch.
Are you just calling my That's what you just said.
I want my fucking latte. A white woman is now persona non grata at an NYC bakery after calling one of its black employees the N-word, and cops are aware of the situation. Law enforcement sources tell us a harassment complaint was filed after an unidentified lady hurled a racial slur at Victor Kamara. This was an incident that happened on Sunday. She definitely looks... Stephanie De Niro. Oh, we know her name now. Our sources say the NYPD typically won't make arrests for harassment complaints like this unless they happen to occur in an officer's presence. It's unclear how the department may proceed if they find her and verify the claims. When it comes to Victor himself, we're told his bosses are fully behind him and applaud him for how he handled the situation. Seemed like he was like calm and cool, especially as a relatively new employee, just about 2 months in. We're told he's been approached by different attorneys in recent days to see if he needs representation over this. No word yet on what legal action, if any, he plans to take. So as I said, I'll take any opportunity to talk about wrestling. Apparently Peacock removed some controversial racial content from their WWE offering. I don't want to call it the WWE Network because it's not the WWE Network as it was. WWE has always had, how should we say it, a questionable history with content involving racial themes. Whether it's their long-seeming apprehension to having a wrestler of color as their world champion. And the sadly low number still to this day is true, but they do currently have a African-American world champion. His name is Bobby Lashley. He's fucking cool too. Were they always seeming to portray the heroic white American hero versus the evil heel from a foreign land? That's true. Often a person of color. And even right now, Bobby Lashley is a heel. Well, we're in a different world now, and so is WWE, as they found themselves having to play ball with NBC Universal's Peacock app now that it owns the WWE Network, and with it, all of WWE's questionable moments in their history involving race. Now, what kind of moments might you be talking about? Well, would you like to see one?
What's up, boss? How you doing?
Yeah. What's good in the hood?
Just holding it down, trying to take care of business.
Keep it up, my nigga.
Now, what's wild about this is you might have been expecting me to be playing something from 30, 40 years ago. No. This was like 13 years ago, 14 years ago. This is fucking John Cena. Oh, goddamn. Why does Vince McMahon think he can get away with that? One of the many moments that NBC Universal has removed from their WWE offerings, along with Roddy Piper painting half of his fucking body black for WrestleMania 6. The 2005 Survivor Series, where Vince McMahon is trying to impress a still rapper gimmick, John Cena. Oh, shit. Meanwhile, Ted Nugent claims he's not racist. Denies racist accusations. As being called the N-word was his greatest compliment. What? Ted Nugent continues to deny accusations of racism, speaking on Facebook Live over the weekend and explaining how he believes his reverence of black heroes of music and the respect he's shown them shows he's anti-racist. Last week, Nugent revealed that he had lost a major TV sponsor over accusations that he was racist, and the discussion continued into the weekend, with the musician going online Saturday with a video to further try to disprove the accusations. I bet he is the most fucking... That's what I'm saying. Let's watch this video, because I'm assuming this video of Ted Nugent trying to claim that he's not racist is incredibly fucking racist.
Famous last words.
You look great.
Relax, honey.
You look.
I got this handled.
You look great.
Okay.
The campfire mama.
So I was asking you some questions. Let me hold that.
You look great.
No, I don't.
You should see her
Stop.
with the moonlight when she's naked.
Not only is he fucking racist,
$1 million an hour, a minute.
Oh my!
$1 million a minute.
I could get $1 million.
he's a fucking creep.
Wait. If you could get that, what do
And
I?
I'm going to assume, if his lyrics are to be believed,
Some kind of shrimp.
he preyed on children.
No, it's salmon salad.
The shrimp is a small salmon, so it's kind of a shrimp thing. Then Shemana's on the vid cam, dude.
Yep.
I don't know why you won't let me show you. It's so beautiful.
No, I don't.
So anyhow, I get a phone call.
Here we go.
The original drummer of Vanilla Fudge. And Carmine and I go all the way back. He is such a pillar, a landmark.
Carmine Appleseed of Vanilla Fudge.
That inspired John Bonham. John Bonham of Led Zeppelin said that he was inspired by Carmine Appleseed. And Carmine with the Vanilla Fudge with Tim Bogart on bass, who just died here last month. Tim Bogart, great man. And
What, he died of COVID?
On Gibson guitar. And Mark Stein, the master of showmanship and soulfulness. Their first hit record, international #1 record, was You Keep Me Hanging On.
Hallelujah.
The original Supremes hit record. But they did it in such a grinding,
Oh God, fucking get to the point. This is going to be horrible.
Okay.
I'm not going to be able to make it through this.
And then Vanilla
and that
Fudge.
turned me on, and it turned on those kids who became Vanilla Fudge. The Motown...
See, he's even talking about turning on kids. I told you.
A definitive soulfulness. I always talk about the Motown Funk Brothers. And the black heroes that delivered
So was that
all
a
the
group?
inspiration for all great music.
Motown Funk Brothers, is that a group or is that
Motown
okay?
So this is the equivalent of Ted Nugent saying, like, these are my black
Pittsfield,
friends.
USA. They played bass, Bob Babbitt, James Jamerson, the gods of bass guitar. The drums, the bass, the guitar, and the keyboards in the basement of Motown.
And so
they
for those young people...
The Funk Brothers was
Okay.
a unit.
Yep.
It was a combo that performed on billions of hit records by Motown.
I can't. Like I was hoping this would be fun, and it is painful. It's almost as painful as being the dumb fuck that wedges your ship in a canal that shuts down a good chunk of shipping all over the world. He's giving a synopsis of being a really shitty ripoff of Good Musicians. The Suez Canal has been blocked, and it could hit product supply chains. If you have not heard about it, this has been a meme sensation online. The cargo ship blocking the Suez Canal is holding up traffic that carries nearly $10 billion worth of goods every day. So a quick clearing of the logjam is key to limiting the economic fallout. Efforts continued Thursday to dislodge the Ever Given container ship. Oh shit, do we have video? Can we see video? Oh no. They've been using like a backloader to try to dig a piece of this side out so that it can turn. About 10% of all global trade flows through the 120-mile-long canal, which allows tankers and container ships to avoid a long trip around the southern tip of Africa. The iconic shipping journal Lloyd's List estimates the goods worth $9.6 billion pass through the canal every day. Lloyd's says about $5.1 billion of that traffic is westbound and $4.5 billion is eastbound. They're just all talking about the economic impact. I don't give a shit about that. I want to know about how they're going to get the boat out. Fuck. I don't give a shit about your capitalism, fuckers. The Suez situation could compound issues for a supply chain already under pressure from the pandemic and a surge in buying. So that, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to go out and get some toilet paper. Virus-related restrictions have trapped crews on merchant ships. Congested ports have led to container ships anchoring off the California coast. I don't care. I don't care about consumers. What about oil shipments? Don't care. Could oil-related products be slowed? Don't care. I want to know about the boat. There you see where they're trying to dig out where it can turn around inside the canal. I want to know how it got stuck. Why? That's what I like. That story answered none of my fucking questions, and I'm upset. I wanted to know what the dude that was like the captain of the ship was thinking when he got the motherfucker lodged. I didn't get any answers. I'm annoyed by it. So if you were on Twitch, I'm going to send you guys over to Ravana. I'll hang out with you for a little bit. That'll do it for me tonight. Go ahead, light one up, tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before you hit the sack. I'm Justin Freakin. We will see you tomorrow night on the Troll Patrol. Live.